Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. You know we're doing Baltimore positive around here all the time, and always finding some great stories and great people. And this has come to me over 30 years that I get invited to these incredible events with my wife fighting leukemia twice, and everything we've done for There Goes My Hero. I've opened up WNST and made some cool friendships along the way. And this guy had a whole sea of people saying to me, "You need to come to Flip Flop Festivus, Flip Flop Festivus." Well, last year I finally went to Flip Flop Festivus, and it was a great time down at the Four Seasons. Coming up again on September the 20th. Sean Hull is here. His day job is a director of wealth management here for a local bank, but he has been involved with Life and Breath Foundation and Flip Flop Festivus, and is a great guy to come on and give me the whole story about why you want to support this event. What's going on, Sean? Happy football season. Happy sending your kids back to school and whatever else you're celebrating, man.
Hey, you named it all. The end of summer is here, I guess. If we can sneak in a couple, that'd be great, but all is well, and again, thank you very much for having me on.
Well, let's start with the genesis of all of this in the Life and Breath Foundation and Flip Flop Festivus. Flip Flop kind of indicates that I can wear my flip-flops. Festivus indicates it's something to do with the Ravens or Seinfeld or whatever, so I'm trying to put the pieces together. I've been hearing about your event for years. I had people that live in my building, in my community, on my Facebook page, and then last year I got to experience it, made some real nice connections that night, had a great time, learned a lot, and I had to think about this. 52 weeks later, I can think of 4 or 5 faces I ran into, including yours, that I'm still very in touch with a year later.
Well, that's awesome. We were happy to have you as a guest and everything. And, the Life and Breath Foundation has been an organization over the last 21 years has really been fighting sarcoidosis and the patients that suffer with it. For me, it affected my mother, who passed away in 1996 with the disease. And in 1998, I created this foundation really to be able to help the individuals that suffer with this disease. Sarcoidosis affects 1 in 2,000 Americans, probably over 150,000 people across the nation. It's a chronic disease that sometimes is misdiagnosed because it mimics and looks like other disease. So it's a multi-symptom illness. Symptoms can vary, including fatigue, shortness of breath, chest pain, swollen limbs, paralysis, blurred vision.
That's a wide range, Sean.
It really is, and so we're hoping and helping to navigate an orderly system whereby we can partner with some medical professionals out there that can see these patients.
Well, and this event I sort of happened organically as a local event, right? That's the Festivus part of this, and Ravens fans and local people like you that touch people with money and organizations that may want to contribute and people that may want to help people with sarcoidosis. For you in starting Flip Flop Festivus and this event and the importance of it being sort of your Super Bowl.
It really was, and if I could take you back to 2008, there was trouble in our economy. Things were down.
I remember that.
I really wanted to create a second event that really could put a smile on people's face. We could celebrate the Inner Harbor in a casual atmosphere, and so naturally we wanted to create that ambience when you travel to the Bahamas or the Caribbean, that type of feel. So we came up with wanting to have a Festivus event, including flip-flops, casual, and someone said, how about Flip-Flop Festivus? And we said, great, let's go with it. And then all of a sudden, here comes, wait a minute, Festivus is synonymous with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl in 2000. Why don't we invite our friends from there to help us celebrate the kickoff to the NFL season?
Well, and so this really began as a kickoff to NFL, and that's why you're holding it at the early part of September. That makes all the sense in the world.
Correct.
Well, we'll be there. It's at the Four Seasons. It's on the 20th of the month. You can get all of the information at flipcause.com and, of course, learn a lot about Life and Breath at lifeandbreath.org. I've gotten to know a few people that have battled this, and I mean, look what my wife has been through. Terrible. People come up and talk to her about her leukemia and the bone marrow transplant and all that. But for the sarcoidosis people, I mean, the level of suffering that I've heard about and raising families and all, the stories that go into this and your loss of your mother years ago. You tell some of these stories, but there's also some champions involved in this and some people much like my wife living and feeling better these days, right?
Well, that's exactly right. And then we're really happy to partner with GBMC. to provide an opportunity for these patients to be seen. GBMC in March of 2019 created a complex care practice that we're partnering with them, and the whole thing is we need to provide a location where patients can come, be paired with a care coordinator to help ensure the continuity of their care, follow-ups on referrals, and sometimes the psychological things that go with combating this disease. But we're happy to let you know we've helped 75 sarcoidosis patients since March, and we feel really good about creating this pathway for them and their families to be able to help them live full and healthy lives, to be their own self-advocate, to get educated, and to do wonderful things in the community.
How would this been different for your mother 25 years later, like as far as research, where we are? I mean, Lord knows with my wife's leukemia, had that come in 1995, she probably would have succumbed to that, right? So,
Yeah.
the world changes and medicine changes, and that's one of the things when I talk Baltimore Positive, right? You talk about the medical community that we have in Baltimore, and we've been known for only a couple of 100 years, right? Going back to Hopkins, right? And the people that do survive, and the progress we've made in research, across all medicines to make sure that that your mother's case isn't the case 5 years or 10 years from now. That's what we're out there fighting against, right?
Well, I think you make a great comment. I can only imagine, because we didn't know my mother had the disease, so she passed away in 96. We think she suffered for 13 years with the disease. So before that, so I only can imagine.
Was it named then? Did sarcoidosis exist as a diagnosis in 1996?
I think they were still researching it. They were still having the fumble and dealing with the symptoms and exactly what this is. Johns Hopkins created a sarcoidosis clinic in 1961 just to do more in terms of research. So going back to your comment about Baltimore and their presence in the healthcare community and research, but I think she was by herself. I think she didn't know where to go, and she wasn't receiving the type of care that people are receiving today. So what was happening is people just wouldn't say anything. They would be in the closet, in the corner, and dealing with it on their own.
They have something, they don't know what it is, they can't figure it out, doctors can't figure it out, and therefore they sit in the corner, literally.
I think so, and I think with some prominent people like Reggie White, the NFL football player, or Bernie Mac, the wonderful actor, comedian, Tisha Campbell, Bill Russell, certain people coming out and sharing their experience. Karen Duffy, who was an MTV VJ and in the movie Dumb and Dumber, with this aspect of people.
She was a guest on my. She came into my studio. She walked into my studio in like 1999 or 2000. Literally, Karen Duffy. I had her on the program.
Is that right?
She was cool.
Story. Wonderful
story. I
story.
did not know that she had bad. I mean, I haven't been up in her career in 20 years, but that's fascinating. That somebody that was actually sitting in my studio 20 years ago. I have the tape. I ran into the tape of it. She was doing some sort of tour at the time.
Sure. Yeah, she's wrote a couple books also on how she dealt with the disease and going through it and all. And I think she found out just shortly after she was dating George Clooney, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story, but she's been an advocate in the community also, just really stretching out. And again, this is not just something that affects people in this regional area in the United States, but it also has a big population of people in Scandinavia, Ireland, England that are dealing with the disease.
He is Sean Hull. He's local. Tell me what you do. You do wealth management here locally, and for your involvement with Flip Flop Festivus and Life and Breath, just some thoughts about what you do locally, because you're always collecting people and telling this story, including to people like me.
I think a lot of it starts with how I was raised and everything, just being an advocate, trying to help people along the way. That was one of the qualities my mother had that I've taken from her. But, as a wealth director for PNC here in the local area, we try to help families achieve financial peace of mind. And that's really disseminating and helping them reach their goals and objectives, the priorities associated with them. And then I just really try to do the same thing with meeting people. And with this particular foundation and the things I'm doing here out in the community, I just enjoy helping people, making them aware that there are people that can help them because they're reaching out. They need that. I always said my overall goal with the foundation is to really be able to put the flagpole in the ground and hoist it up as high as possible and allow these people to understand, here is the life and breath. Please come see us. We can help you.
He is Sean Hall. You can find him. He's out on LinkedIn and at PNC. And, of course, you can find everything they do at lifeandbreath.org, as well as Flip Cause and Flip Flop Festivus. We'll be participating on the 20th down at Four Seasons. It's an evening event, and it kind of speaks for itself, right? You can wear flip-flops, kind of like my wedding was.
At Nestor, we're going to have some live auction, silent auction packages. We have some travel packages that we're going to be auctioning off. We're going to have casino games, a bourbon tasting, and we're just looking forward to a lot of fun dancing with DJ Smokey Lansdowne, who's going to come up from the Starboard in Dewey Beach and help spin the tunes. So we hope to have a really, really nice time.
Well, I wore a blue shirt last year, and I know that because I'm on the front of your website. So, and my wife wore her blue dress. So we're going to have to come with a new color theme for next year. Make sure I don't wear the same shirt to the same event. Hey, great to have you on, Sean. Keep up the great work. I know your story's a little gut-wrenching, and you know it's hard to tell sometimes, but needs to be told. And we'll see you on the 20th, and we'll celebrate the life of your mom and all the people we're going to save down the line with sarcoidosis.
Nestor, we really appreciate your partnership. You are a really big figure here in the community, and thank you for the outreach. Your ability to help others is really, really appreciated.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you, man. We'll see you on the 20th. Sean Hall, he'll be hosting Flip Flop Festivus at the Four Seasons. That's a mouthful, right? You can find me out in the BuyInToyota.com audio vault and all of our Baltimore positive stuff that we've been doing, including our community and charity series, brought to you by Cole Roofing and Gorian Energy. But more than that, Baltimore positive, out at Jennings, out at State Fair, down at Fadley's, with Reverend Al Hathaway, with Sarah Heminger from Thread next week at Jennings, and, of course, next Friday with Ben Jealous at State Fair. We get back to Fadley's with City Council President Brandon Scott on the 19th. So, big month around here. If you haven't heard Dick Cass, if you haven't heard Ron Shapiro, make sure you're checking that out at BaltimorePositive.com. We are Baltimore Positive. I am Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. We're on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Snapchat and anywhere, Instagram, that you travel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.